I want to go to this comment because Joe Fisher says everyone gave the title to the Thunder. Pacers seem to flip the script. And I actually have a nice little back and forth that I think kind of speaks to just how much the media stood against the Pacers going into this. And honestly, it is one of the most open, honest national media people that you will see anywhere, Scott Van Pelt, after game one, after Tyrese Haliburton goes out, hits a shot with 0.3 seconds left in the game, wins game one on the road for Indy, who, by the way, trailed in this game by a lot late, 9 points with 3 minutes left. Felt like they kept fluctuating between double digits. They'd get it to within 6, it'd blow open to 13. I want you to hear this exchange between Scott Van Pelt and Tyrese Haliburton, because to me, this is everything that is right with good media people. This is everything that is right with smart media people who are open and honest and ultimately are able to get more out of their guests because they stand by what they said, and they also admit face-to-face, I said this, and I might have been wrong. I want you to hear Scott Van Pelt last night talking to Haliburton, and there's a little nugget at the very end of this clip that I think is absolutely sensational. It kind of speaks to the comment before about how the media had effectively given this to Oklahoma City ahead of time. So let's go out to Scott Van Pelt.
The other night on the show, I put my hand up and I said, look, I was late to the party on it.
Yeah, you're a real one for that.
Well,
yeah, I heard that.
So interesting. Van Pelt admits that he said he thought that this was going to be OKC's to lose. Haliburton admits that he watched this show, or at least he saw the clip, and gave him credit for being open. Okay.
One for that.
Well,
hey,
but
a lot of your counterparts won't admit that now.
Well,
Stephen A. Smith.
Oh,
so,
okay. Now I'm going to give myself a little wiggle room here and say you guys are under 500 at Christmas. Am I right?
Oh, we were rough.
Okay.
We were rough.
So were you back?
All right, so that's good. Van Pelt, a nice little nugget there. You were under 500 at Christmas, were you not? Yeah, we were rough. Okay, cool.
Out at the start?
We were.
Okay, so all I said is I was a little late to the party, I put my hand up.
We were late to the party too.
Okay.
See, nice little moment there. This is good. This is also, once again, why players open up to Van Pelt. This is also why, despite it being so incredibly late, and a lot of people aren't able to stay up for it, right? Because if you're in your 30s, you just fall asleep. It's what you do at night now. You're not up until 2 or 3 in the morning like you used to be. Anyway, good moment. We'll keep going.
Well, and I'll be a real one right now.
Yeah.
This is the thing that I was talking about, by the way, the comment about the national media giving this to Oklahoma City. Listen to this admission from Van Pelt. This is incredible.
Every single note I had on this card getting ready for this show was about Oklahoma City winning this game. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting.
So he admits that in doing the show prep, every nugget, every factoid that he had on that card was aligned with when Oklahoma City wins game one.
In here with you. It's an amazing show that you all are putting on, and the belief is amazing to watch as well. I appreciate you taking the time. Thanks so much. Tyrese Haliburton.
I want you to think about that for a second, okay? What was the point of the show? What was the point of this show? What did I say in like the mission statement of the Russ Joy Show? It was that I'm going to break down Philly sports, national sports, and the media that dissect them, right? This to me is a perfect example of what sets an exceptional media person apart from a lot of the other drivel. Scott Van Pelt looks a player directly in the eyes, says, I thought that Oklahoma City was going to win this series handily. I said it. Player says back to him, I heard you say it. I appreciate the honesty. And the media guy looks at the player in the eyes and says, all of my show prep for tonight was based on them winning. And yet you got it done. That to me is like that's how this is supposed to work. There's nothing wrong with being honest if you're in the media. There's nothing wrong with being open and honest to a player's face. The problem is that so many times you get media people at both the local and the national level who will write something, or we've talked about it in the past, will essentially pull the pin and roll the grenade into the room, into the locker room. They'll write something that's incendiary, and they'll hide behind being a columnist for the newspaper, and then they don't show up. And when they don't show up, they put all of their colleagues in a bad place with that player and potentially with that team. So that's a very important thing, and I thought that was a really nice showing. Now, there are some other stats and some other things to throw out. So Haliburton hits that shot with 0.3 seconds left last night. Haliburton this postseason, only this one, has hit 4 game-tying or game-winning go-ahead shots. 4 game-tying or go-ahead shots in the final 5 seconds of a game. This postseason, again, he has hit 4 shots that have either tied the game or been the go-ahead basket with 5 or fewer seconds remaining in a game. And I saw another stat out there about Haliburton in these clutch moments in like the last 5 or 10 seconds of a game. He is 13 of 15 from the field this season on those shots. 13 of 15 with the last shot in his hands at the end of a game. 13 of 15. That includes, by the way, a win over Milwaukee, a win over Cleveland, a win over the Knicks. So 3 of those 15 at least came in the postseason against teams that were, I believe, in all of those cases, except for maybe Milwaukee, where the opponent was favored. I don't remember the consequence of where Giannis and Dame were injury-wise when he hit that shot. That's incredible. That is a clutch performer. There was shock in Oklahoma City. Like, after Indy pulls off this win on the road, massive shock. And so I want to go out to Windy because Windy was there. And they were talking about this last night on the telecast about how much just shock there was in the arena. But Brian Windhorst kind of gave some color to it this morning. I just want you to hear what he had to say, because it's pretty staggering.
To see it last night, extraordinary drama. What's your first reaction?
Terrible night overnight here in Oklahoma City, Greeny.
That is putting it lightly.
Terrible storms and a lot of upset people because Tyrese Haliburton is unequivocally having the greatest run of clutch shooting we have seen in the history of the sport.
Let's pause there for a second. Think about that one. Mull it over for a second. The best clutch shooting performance we have seen in a postseason in the history of the sport. Is he wrong? I don't know. Kind of hard to argue. Again, he's won a game against each team in each series this postseason with a last-second shot. Kind of hard to argue there.
So you know about the 4 shots with inside 1.3 seconds just in the playoffs. But Greeny, I'm going to tell you that this season, Tyrese Haliburton is 12 of 14. 12 of 14.
He's actually 13 of 15.
Inside 2 minutes in the game to go ahead or tie the game. We've never seen anything like that. The faith that the Pacers have in this player in these moments is amazing. And
it's also important to note, like, if we go back and we did like a possession by possession breakdown on last night's game, you will find like Haliburton was involved in the play, but for whatever reason, like, we got to that final shot and I went, isn't he a little bit cold shooting? Like, isn't he a little bit detached from the flow as a shooter?
You can understand why. And the shell shot that they gave the Thunder in this game is just unequivocal. I have to also say that this was really a masterpiece of a second half by all the Pacers that is going to be covered by this incredible shot. Correct. But it was a great second half, which is more relevant maybe going forward than just...
They played an incredible second half of that game. And Haliburton himself... It wasn't like a bad game by his standards, right? Like, it wasn't an all-time stinker of a game from him. But he only had 14 points on the night. So it's not like Tyrese Haliburton was the hot hand all night. He finishes with 14 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 assists in the game. It was a good performance, but it wasn't like an earth-shattering one, which again is why I said, like, when we got to the end of that game, and I see him chucking that shot up at the end, I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, is this the shot? Is it really? Now, then we go out to Jay Williams, because Jay Williams also weighed in on Haliburton's performance. And you're talking about, again, that historical precedent. You're talking about where this kind of fits, not only in the history of the league, but like maybe even focus on right now, where does Tyrese Haliburton rank as a player? And Jay Williams had a hell of a quote here. I don't know. I keep getting the balloons going today. That's great. Let's go out to Jay Williams.
The Pacers didn't just win. Once again, they broke in basketball logic. This is now 4 playoff wins with less than a 2.1% winning probability that they've came back and won. Like, that's not improbable. That's statistically irrational. And when you actually think about it, I'm also ready to say this about this guy. Tyrese Haliburton is officially the most dangerous man in chaos.
The most dangerous man in chaos? The final seconds of games are certainly chaotic. Kind of hard to argue. Okay.
It just feels like he creates opportunities, whether that's 9 shots, whether that's 20 shots, he finds a way to put his imprint on the game and have impact when it matters the most. He didn't even look at the other people that are open on that play. You knew he was going to shoot the ball down the stretch.
So I think that's a fair, like that again is a very fair point. So when you look at this, right, if you were watching the game last night, you kind of had that feeling that somebody was going to have to step up for Indiana. And it was almost like one of those, why not Tyrese Haliburton? Yes, he hasn't exactly shot the ball well. Yes, he isn't on a heater. The guy's clutch, and it is impossible to argue it.